welcome to Help Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos podcast. I'm your host, Emmanuel Barbee. I'd like to encourage everyone on my Facebook friends list, everyone in my social groups, and all of my listeners worldwide. Please do me a favor. Hit that like button and share this video podcast with your friends. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel. It's free. Help make this video podcast go viral by posting this link to your Facebook page, your Instagram page, and or on your Twitter page. This video podcast is available in 3 forms: audio, video, and as a written text in order for us to reach our audience. On my YouTube channel, you can watch my latest video podcasts. I provide direct links to our virtual store, my Amazon author page, our PayPal page, my Medium page, and our GoFundMe page under the About section. We look forward to having you on board with us as we embrace upon this exciting project. If you are listening to this audio podcast on Anchor, just click on the YouTube icon to connect with my YouTube channel. In order to follow along with my presentation, I strongly recommend everyone on my Facebook friends list exchange emails with me so that I can email you everything I do online. I encourage all of my listeners to follow me on my Medium page. This is where I post my transcript so that you can read my full speech word for word or click on the audio version to hear my speech. I use this platform to interact with everyone on my friends list and everyone in my social groups by giving Black business owners free airtime to promote their products and services. I give people in the faith community an opportunity to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. I give Black authors and ordinary law-abiding citizens an opportunity to share their special talents and skills to my listeners from around the globe. After the show, I offer my guest speakers an incentive by teaching them how to create their own podcast and YouTube channel to help them earn extra revenue. I also assist people on my friends list with creating basic websites, finding college scholarships and grants, housing, and legal services, all for free. I am not interested in writing and publishing more books, but rather producing quality Black empowerment film, successful Black businesses. I am not online to beg for donations. I want to exchange something of value. My thing is, if I am going to ask for something, then I'm going to have a product or service behind it, like my revised book or my virtual store. This video podcast is an extension of the grassroots community activist movement. Over here, we promote critical thinking while discussing social issues throughout the diaspora and on the African continent until the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago materialize. It's my hope through this podcast and through my social groups I can connect with other like-minded Black people, African people, Afro-Caribbean people, Afro-Brazilian people, and others who will work with me directly in turning my vision and plan for Black America and Africa into a reality. Once we get this film project fully funded and made and get our Christian business up and running, then I would love to invite many of you to Chicago, Illinois to speak or preach during our live events. Through the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago, we will help pay for your travel and hotel expenses pending on our budget and sponsorship. We will also compensate you for your time and talent. Our objective is to keep our community informed and connected. For those of you who appreciate all of the hard work that I'm doing on this video podcast, the best way you can show your support is by donating to our film project through our GoFundMe page or by purchasing items from our virtual store and help me get my revised book on the bestsellers list so that the world would take our cause serious. Our goal is to take Cam to the next level, the big screen. The proceeds from the film will put me in a better position financially so that I can purchase property for our Christian business, Ghettos of Chicago, buy office equipment, and hire qualified black middle-class professionals who would make sure that this business will be effective and successful for years to come. Most of all, make our presence known in the African American community, starting in Chicago. Without support from the black grassroots and the global African family, then I am unable to do my job. 31 years of being overlooked and rejected has not stopped me from stumping hard for my people who are trapped in American ghettos. I provide all the links in the comment section below. Please mark your calendar for Saturday, April 29th, 2023. I would like to personally invite everyone on my Facebook friends list, everyone in my social groups, and all of my listeners from around the globe to participate on our special segment, GERCAM Virtual Conference. I'm looking for at least 5 people to be on the panel. I prefer that we practice using StreamYard first in order for us to do a professional show that will challenge our competitors. Theme: Witchcraft in the Church. Time: 2 p.m. through 3 p.m. American Central Time, 3 p.m. Canadian Time, 8 p.m. West African Time, 9 p.m. South African Time, 10 p.m. East African Time, and 8 p.m. UK Time. Instructions on how to participate on the show. First, watch my video podcast. This is called Side A. After I finish my presentation, then I will open up the phone lines through Facebook Messenger. This is called Side B. You can interact with me in real time, either by voice call by clicking on the phone icon or by video call by clicking on the camera icon. Today's topic of discussion is as follows. Sheila Jackson run for mayor for Houston. G7 versus BRICS. Kamala Harris visits African nations, and Julius Malema welcomes Vladimir Putin to BRICS summit. Our first topic: Sheila Jackson run for mayor of Houston. I found an article entitled, quote, U.S. Rep. Sheila Jackson Lee is running for Houston mayor, unquote. U.S. Rep. Sheila Jackson Lee has officially abandoned reparations study bill H.R. 40. Instead, her focus now is on running for mayor in Houston, Texas. She went to a black church to announce her run for mayor. If you would like to read the full article, then please go to my Medium transcript and scroll down to Show and Prove. I will give an overview about the article. From what I understand, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee was assigned to review Reparations Study Bill H.R. 40. Once the Democrats decided to drop H.R. 40, just like Karen Baster in Los Angeles, she was allowed to run for mayor. Notice a pattern that whenever the Democrats are done with their congressmen or congresswomen, they get them to run for mayor in their respective cities. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee has been in Congress since 1995 doing absolutely nothing for black Americans. No one can tell you what specific tangibles she has done for the African American community, except give black people symbolism. Please leave a public comment on my YouTube page about the topic. Most of all, share this video podcast with your friends. This will help get the ball rolling. Second topic, G7 versus BRICS. The International Group of Seven, which stands for G7, is an intergovernmental political forum consisting of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom, and the United States. Additionally, the European Union. It is officially organized around shared values of pluralism and representative government, with members making up the world's largest IMF advanced economies and liberal democracies. As of 2020, G7 members account for over half of global net worth and over 200 trillion. 32 to 46% of global gross domestic product and 10% of the world's population. Members are great powers in global affairs and maintain mutual close political, economic, diplomatic, and military relations. In contrast, BRICS is an acronym for the 5 leading emerging economies: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Brazil, Russia, India, and China are among the world's 10th largest countries by populations, area, and GDP, and the latter 3 are widely considered to be currently or emerging superpowers. I was listening to a podcast the other day. The guest speaker was D.L. Hootley, and for some strange reason, black media wants to make it appear that Trump's indictment is the most important thing happening in America. Meanwhile, we have global politics going on that far outweigh Donald Trump's indictment, like how our public schools are failing our black children. Many of their reading and math scores are below grade level across the United States, especially in Baltimore, Maryland. The public schools in Baltimore, where black children aren't proficient in reading or math, is because these schools are underfunded. Public schools depend on property taxes. Black America is not focused on creating our own schools. If so, then Ghettos of Chicago would have been made 31 years ago. Truth be told, you are not going to have good schools in an urban war zone. The only real solution is for us to connect with other like-minded black people, African immigrants, Afro-Brazilians / Afro-Latinos, and Afro-Caribbeans, for us to build Ghettos of Chicago. It does not matter where you relocate to. In every inner city in America, there is the same issues: poverty, failing schools, drugs, guns, and street gangs. In Ghettos of Chicago, we will reclaim our communities, our culture, and practice the ideas and principles I have written in my revised book. My revised book is the foundation of our Christian business. The current black culture is dysfunctional because we only focus on the food and music. The black media is not talking about BRICS and their alliance with Saudi Arabia and Iran. We have a global community of nations that are starting to separate themselves from the U.S. dollar. Meanwhile, we have black Americans who continue to talk about how our ancestors built the United States of America. And with such statements as "we fight, we don't flee." I knew this day was coming. That's why I've been warning my group members and my listeners to seek other options beyond the United States of America. When I say we need to build an alliance with African immigrants that's already here in America, many black Americans get offended. Off-code Negroes in America is making it very hard for us to remain living here. For example, people like Reverend Amos Brown, the person I spoke about on my last podcast, the same person who was against cash reparations to black residents in San Francisco. No other group in America would argue against something that would help their group, only within black America. A majority of black Americans continue to vote for the Democrats without demanding tangibles for our vote. They vote against our interests as a collective. Qualified immunity remains on the books even after all the protests during George Floyd. Because of black voters who voted for Democrats, we now have an influx of illegal Latino immigrants who have anti-black sentiments against our group. Our children have to compete for resources against Afghan refugees and Ukraine refugees. I believe that people in these black spaces are cheering on the fall of global white hegemony. I believe GRCAM members who are serious about this issue from a macro perspective to be prepared, because the Western nations are slowly starting to fall apart. The white supremacist financial elites believe they were going to continue to run the world through their economic system. For years, the white supremacist financial elites relied on cheap oil from Saudi Arabia and taking raw materials from African nations. But now there is options for Africa and new players like China and Russia. Before I cut and run to Africa, I need African immigrants, Afro-Brazilians, Afro-Latinos, and Afro-Caribbeans to come forth and work with me in turning my vision and plan for Black America and Africa into a reality. Black Americans will come forth, mark my words, especially when they see the positive impact our Christian business will have in the African American community. Once we are up and running in Chicago, then we will launch our African tours to 10 African nations and meet people from my African group, GRCAI of Africa, starting in South Africa. The purpose of the tours is to reconnect the diaspora with continental Africans through our Christian business. I want to give our members options such as looking into applying for residencies or applying for dual citizenship, like I'm going to. Through GRCAI of Chicago, we are going to play a major role in developing each African nation that we visit by setting up local businesses if given a chance. I found an article from the East African entitled China, quote, China plan to trade in own currency, cut U.S. dollar dominance, unquote. I found another article from NPR entitled, quote, rivals Saudi Arabia and Iran restore ties with China's help. Here's why it matters, unquote. This is why I created this platform, to get my message out and warn my group members and my listeners domestically and internationally. I want my listeners to benefit from what I am speaking about. America is an authoritarian regime. As GRCAM members, we don't want to be under such regime. That's why we have to build GRCAI of Chicago and reconnect to our ancestral homeland, Africa. We have to buy land there, create our own businesses and institutions so that eventually we can gain our own sovereignty within an African nation. But we have to generate capital first. Again, that's why I wrote my revised book, in order to generate capital. That's why I created my virtual store, in order to generate capital. But unfortunately, a lot of Black Americans aren't patronizing it. And unfortunately, this is why our children continue to suffer in this country. I don't want to waste another 31 years reaching out to Black America. That's why I'm reaching out to the global African family. This is my last attempt to try to do something positive for my racial group in America through this film project. I did the best I can, and again, I dedicated 31 years of my life trying to get the ball rolling. But this Willie Lynch mentality is real. We could make a lot of money in America if we want to, but many Black Americans don't have the desire to work among each other. The United States of America creates the most millionaires out of any other country in the world. Truth be told, Black Americans aren't willing to do what's necessary to get to the objectives we claim we want for ourselves. My advice to our young Black millennials in America: do your job. Keep your distance and make your money. Look outside of America for your second address. We tried Dr. King Jr.'s way, and towards the end of his life, he said, quote, "I think I am integrating my people into a burning house," unquote. I asked the question in my revised book, have we been better as a collective under integration? I believe we are worse off now than we were during segregation because we had more black businesses back then, and also black people were more cohesive. We cared more about the community. Nowadays, it's all about individualism. People are all about themselves. So, they don't care about the community. It's I got mine, you get yours mentality. They call it narcissism as well. Over here, I talk to my members and my listeners from around the globe. On this podcast, I want my members and my listeners to have a mindset of building things together, such as creating our own schools, businesses, healthcare clinics. That's what I'm on. Remember, remaining under the control of the United States or United Kingdom, the economic system will eventually hurt us in the long run. Please leave a public comment on my YouTube page about the topic. Most of all, share this video podcast with your friends. This will help get the ball rolling. Our third topic, Kamala Harris visit African nation. She visited 3 African nations, Ghana, Tanzania, and Zambia. She was sent to Africa to impose LGBT on African nations. If they resist, then America will hit them with economic sanctions, which will affect their economy. Notice, America is not doing this to Saudi Arabia or China. The United States of America is trying to win back their influence in Africa because of China and Russia. America had an opportunity to develop a partnership with Africa, but instead they sent their economic hitmen and was involved in every assassination of African leaders. Notice when China and Russia approach Africa, leaders, they don't try to impose the LGBT agenda on their culture. I want to be clear. I am in favor that everyone be treated equally and fair. Uganda has passed anti-LGBT bill. America said they will hit them with economic sanctions. This is going to make Uganda do business with China and Russia. If the United States of America is serious about doing business with Africa, then they need to respect Africa's culture and values. They are not coming with anything, only foreign aid, which has been their approach all the time. America has promoted a degenerate society. The white supremacist financial elites wants to target black children because they want to re-educate our children and make them confused. I believe African nations need to push for reparations for European colonization, which include wiping out Africa's debt. Otherwise, don't do business with them any longer. That's my suggestion. Black Americans need to be more informed when it comes to commodities. In Chicago, we will teach financial literacy to our members and students. We want to see our members diversify their portfolio in terms of exchanging their cash into buying silver or gold. We're seeing African nations and Caribbean nations using their options about what they want to do with their currency. 10 years ago, you wouldn't see African nations standing up to the United States of America for fear of sanctions, but today they have options. Please leave a public comment on my YouTube page about the topic. Most of all, share this video podcast with your friends. This will help get the ball rolling. Our fourth topic, Julius Malema welcomes Vladimir Putin to BRICS summit. The International Criminal Court wants South Africa to arrest Vladimir Putin when it comes to the BRICS summit, but Julius Malema, founder of the Economic Freedom Fighters, said no. I'm going to play the video clip, then I will give my commentary about the topic afterwards. Then I will open up the discussion for Q&A. In order to watch the video, please go to my Medium transcript and scroll down to Show and Prove. All right.
The world is changing. It's becoming more multipolar as more and more countries come to the realization that the United States and European countries have been becoming rich of other countries, stealing minerals from Africa and getting rich of that mineral. So, more and more countries are coming together to oppose that. India, Brazil, Russia, China, and South Africa started this group called the BRICS. And more countries want to join the BRICS. Now, recently, Iran and Saudi Arabia, ended their beef. They ended their long-running hostility, which, by the way, was designed and created by the United States and Western countries to favor Israel. But back to the story is this other issue of the ICC, International Criminal Court, which is a Western court that they use to intimidate African leaders. So this court issued an illegal arrest warrant against Putin, the Russian president. And now, yesterday, these Western countries intimidated South Africa that because they have heard the Russian president is planning to go to South Africa. He's traveling to South Africa next week. And they want South Africa to arrest the Russian president the moment he lands in Johannesburg. And Putin is going to South Africa to attend a BRICS summit. And today they are calling it BRICS Plus. And one of the agenda is to admit the new members, that is Iran and Saudi Arabia. And the other agenda is to discuss the petrodollar, to end the dominance of the petrodollar. So in order to end that dominance, they want to adopt the Chinese yuan, what we call the RMBI, as the other secondary form of payment for crude oil. And a lot of countries in the BRICS have agreed on this. So this has scared the Westerners, the United States, because they have been getting rich of other countries' resources. They have been using the petrodollar, printing more currency, more dollars, without anything to back it up. So they want the South Africans to start the World War III by arresting the president of the world's largest nuclear superpower. So I'm going to play you a clip so that you understand what the South Africans think about it. And this is from one of their politicians, Julius Malema.
ICC, Putin is welcomed, and no one is going to arrest Putin. If needs be, we'll go and fetch Putin from the airport to his meeting. He will finish all his meetings, we'll take him back to the airport. We're not going to be trolled by this hypocrite of the International Criminal Court who know the real violators of human rights, who know the murderers of this world. That former Prime Minister of Tony Blair admitted that they made a horrible mistake when it comes to Saddam Hussein. They've not been charged today. Bush is still there. They've not been charged till today. And then Obama killed Gaddafi. And then nothing has happened. We're here today with Libya being destroyed and unable to recover because of America. We know very well that when NATO gets involved, those are terrorists. We know very well where the US says we're going in to install peace. That place will never know peace as long as America has visited that place. So we don't want ICC's hypocrisy to apply here in our country. President Putin is welcome. We know our friends. We know the people who liberated us. We know the people who supported us. In Kutukonaval, the weapons that were used in Kutukonaval that led to the liberation of South Africa were coming from Russia. Russia supplied us with weapons in Kutukonaval. Cuba supplied us with soldiers. MK was drunk.
10 years ago, we would never see an African nation openly defying the United States of America. I believe after Trump spoke out against the ICC, people saw the blatant hypocrisy of the International Criminal Court. I think it's a big deal that Julius Malema said that South Africa will not arrest Vladimir Putin. Putin just forgave Africa's debt of $20 million. This is proof that it's a new day in Africa. The only sad thing is that the EFF has been around a long time. South Africa still have not elected Julius Malema as president of South Africa. The ANC, African National Congress, is equivalent to the Democrat Party in America to black Americans. For 20 years, the ANC has been in power and not much has changed. The former colonizers control the economy. Whoever controls the economic controls the land. Black South Africans need to push for reparations from their former colonizers, which include land redistribution and revising their constitution. God gave Africa to melanated people. We're not trying to take over the world. We want to reclaim our continent from these other groups who are ripping off our people. If other groups want to do business with us, then it would be at market rate. It does not matter what you know, it's about what you can prove. I am a descendant of American slaves, and I offer something that no black leader has in America, and that is a solution to solve all of our social problems in America and throughout the African diaspora if given a chance. Black America and Black Chicago has rejected my vision and plan for 31 years. This is why I'm reaching out to the global African family who will work with me in building Grassroots of Chicago so that we can expand this Christian business to 10 African nations. Please work with me while I'm alive. Don't wait until I'm dead. I'm doing the best that I can with the little resources that I have. I'm grateful to have the internet, to be able to use my social groups. But people, especially my group members, y'all gotta do better. We have to do better, black people. I created our GoFundMe page a year ago, back last year in April. And out of 1,600 and I'm going to say 77 people that's on my Facebook friends list, only 4 people have donated. And our GoFundMe page has been out for a year now, but only 4 people out of 1,677 people on Facebook. So, I mean, and the reason why I'm doing it this way, so I'm trying to be transparent so that way people can see where the money is going to be going. It's going to be going toward this film project. And the proceeds from the film is what I'm going to use to hire my staff, purchase property, and do all the things that I've been talking about for the past 31 years. But if black people is not going to support it, then I can't do my job. There's no reason to keep complaining about the problems that's going on here in America if you're not interested in a solution. The white supremacist financial elites is not going to fund this thing. Also, the white man is not stopping any one of you all from my listeners from patronizing my revised book or purchasing items from our virtual store or donating to our film project. That's a personal choice. We have to take responsibility for that. That's the sad thing. So the whole purpose, again, of me doing these virtual conferences is to try to raise funds for this film project. I'm doing the best that I can. But again, it takes a team to make a dream work. And I'm documenting what I'm doing. That's how come I'm doing video podcasts. And yes, I read my speeches without shame because I want to make sure people hear me loud and clear, and I don't want to skip over some things that might be very important for my listeners to hear. With that being said, please leave a public comment on my YouTube page about the topic. Most of all, share this video podcast with your friends. This will help get the ball rolling. Thank you all for your time. And most of all, I'm just going to say this again. I need my group members to stand up. Group members that's in my Christian groups, Light of the World Inspirational Group, Christian Spoken Word Network, as well as in my secular groups, Grakai of Africa, Grakai of Chicago, New Black Voices of Media. Step up. Even if you're not able to come on the show, leave public comments under the comment section. And share that with your friends. That's going to help get the ball rolling and help get the information out there. With that being said, I'm going to conclude the show for today. Peace and blessings.